Are we live? We are live. Why is that only showing a corner? Is YouTube screwed up or is my stream screwed up? That's what we need to figure out here. Nope, my stream is just fine. Alright, so I will start talking in a second. Okay, so we have some MacBooks to fix, and earlier today, I got the first dose of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, and before somebody comes and says, oh, you're not eligible, you're this and this, here's my eligibility. Anyway, let's go grab a MacBook to fix. Alright, so this looks like an A1466 FRU board with liquid damage. Now we're going to fix this MacBook professionally without reflowing the CPU. So our board has already been taken out of the enclosure by Caleb, who's an excellent technician that works here. What did I even show? I showed this. Why am I eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine? Well, I work on MRI equipment in addition to MacBooks. There's been some videos on the stream regarding that. So that is considered indirect and sometimes direct contact with patients. So that makes me eligible to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Alright, so we have an 820-00165, which is actually an Apple FRU board. These are not the best boards to work on. That has some liquid damage. So the first thing I want to do is plug it in, see what it does, and also give it a visual inspection and see what's going on with this board. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to switch over to my microscope view, and which is frozen. Okay, let's fix the microscope view. Okay, let's see what happened here. Add video capture device, create new. And lovely, it decided to stop working again. Why don't you want to work, little camera? Michael, see what I just showed you. This is why I showed this at the start of the stream. Alright, looks like we have our camera up. Perfect. Alright. Alright, so we have, as I said, an 820-00165 with some liquid damage. Let's go ahead and give it an overview. We have some corrosion around the 7130, which is for PP Bus G3 Hot. A little near Q7155, which is for our battery. Nothing too concerning though. Nothing around the CPU area that's super concerning. So all looks good here. We have some corrosion on our JTAG connector. We have a little bit of corrosion on our PP3B42 circuit. We have corrosion on our... You can hear me twice. Okay, hang on 1 second. Why is it echoing? Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Is it fixed? Hopefully it's fixed. Alright, I'm not going to go any further until I know it's fixed. Fixed. Perfect. Okay, so I have my desktop audio on. Okay, and now why did my microscope view flip to the wrong way? This doesn't look right. Hang on. Yeah, this is not right at all. We need to set the proper resolution here. We need to go to 720p. And then we need to... Okay. And transform, rotate 180 degrees. There we go. Okay, so we have some corrosion around our SMC reset circuit. That looks pretty bad. That's probably going to be one of our main issues. A little bit around the Thunderbolt circuit, not really concerning. We have a lot of corrosion around our backlight area, and these pins are actually burned. That's definitely going to be an issue right there. So it's definitely going to need a new LVDS connector, probably new backlight MOSFET, and that backlight fuse is also fairly corroded. A little bit around our via right here for our backlight feedback line. Going over here, backlight driver has a little bit of corrosion, but I think it might be okay. A little bit near our Thunderbolt circuit, that doesn't concern me. That'll be okay after ultrasonic. Got some around our SMC, so we're going to have to put some flux around this area, give it a good nice reflow to clear all of that junk from under the SMC. Now, no, this is not the same as reflowing a CPU because there's been a lot of drama about that recently. This is totally different. This is to clear corrosion under a chip. And that is a totally acceptable thing to do. A little bit of corrosion here. Might replace those caps, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. These caps should be okay after ultrasonic. All right, let's go ahead and plug it in, see what this guy does. So let's get our DCM board. Plug it in. And let's see what this does. I'm willing to bet the fan will spin on this and have no backlight. I'm willing to bet this fan will spin. Well, we need to plug in our fan first because somebody unplugged the fan. Probably Caleb. Blame Caleb. Always blame Caleb for unplugged fans. No matter what, always blame your employee. For anything unplugged, blame your employee. Even if you did it. Okay, so we get no green light in that charger and we get no fan spin. Let's start by checking our first rail, which is going to be PP Bus G3 Hot. Now the reason why I'm checking this rail is it's going to tell me many things based on what it's reading. If it's reading like 1 or 2 volts, and that tells me there's probably an issue with the PP3B42 circuit. If it's reading 8.18 to 8.26 volts, that tells me there's an issue with the SMC or the SMC reset circuit. If it's reading 8.59 volts, that means the rail is present and there's another issue on this board somewhere. So I'm going to go over here. Here's our meter right here. Can you see this? Yes, you can. We have our board plugged in. I'm going to check PP Bus G3 hot voltage. And it is 8.19 volts, which means that the SMC is not working or there's an issue on SMC reset. So let's go ahead and check SMC reset voltage. Now, I just reinstalled Windows on my computer and I have no board views and schematics. So we're going to do without this. So I don't need a board view or schematic to fix this. So SMC reset should show up. I believe it's on this one right here. And we have 3.4 volts on SMC reset. It's going to show you. Just checking on both sides of this resistor. Pretty sure it's on this side, but 3.4, 3.14, 3.14. So our issue is not on SMC reset. So that must mean that this has something to do with all that junk around the SMC that we see here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is remove all that edge bonding around the SMC, give it a little light reflow with flux. I cannot reiterate this enough after last night's drama on Cell Phone Repair Shop Talk. Reflowing a non-flip chip BGA IC with corrosion is totally different than heating a CPU with a heat gun. Okay, let's get that straight here. So we're going to go ahead and gently heat this SMC. Well, not a little bit gently. We need to actually get all that junk out of there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. No amazing Paul Daniels software, unfortunately, today. Not until I install it. And I can't install it without messaging Paul for the key because I don't have it anymore. Paul's going to kill me because I do that every time I have to install it on a computer. Put some flux around there, and I'm also going to put flux around the surrounding areas of the board. It's not worth looking up. It was a big fiasco because what happened was, I'm going to do a video on this. I found a video of somebody heating a Retina GPU or Retina CPU with a Wagner heat gun at a really high temperature, and I posted it in the MacBook support group. Hey, I'm tired of this stuff. Stop doing this stuff like this. And everybody defended this practice because this one technician is apparently good and knows what he's doing. Yet he heated a CPU with a literally glowing Wagner heat gun, and it led to so many people defending that practice, and kind of just made me sick that this is the state of the industry, that we're actually defending people that are doing something incredibly reckless and putting a customer's board in danger of data loss. But if that's what kind of industry that they're going to be, that's what kind of industry they're going to be. And that's about it. So important thing is that you do you, and you don't follow in their footsteps. And how this one individual that's reflowing CPUs like this is held at a higher standard than myself, not to give myself any pride or anything, is astonishing to me and in the community that is. But what I find is a lot of these what happened in the what do you mean, Christian? What went high alert in the title? Does YouTube think I'm claiming that I have a internal 5G antenna now that I got a COVID-19 vaccine? That would be kind of cool. Get the vaccine and become a 5G antenna and have 5 bars signal all the time. That would be pretty darn cool. Hi, Catherine. How's it going? Alright, so all that edge bonding is removed. We want to make sure we get it all because we don't want any stragglers under there because that will cause issues. I'm going to put some flux around this chip. Let me just check. I got some messages. I want to make sure it's nothing important. 14 messages? Cam, it's you. It's 10 messages, 14 messages from you telling me I have an audio issue. Alright, let's heat this some C up a bit. Jim, did you find out anything, by the way? Just want to ask you since you're here. Feel free to PM me if you did. Those guys didn't look too good, so they're going to go away. We got a couple resistors I need to put back. So I believe I took off that one and this one right here. Jim, you're probably right that no news is good news. At least that's how it's been with things like that I've had. So if it's something urgent, they will hear from you. Like if the surgeons or the doctors read, I don't want to say too much or anything on stream because I don't want to compromise your privacy or anything. But if a doctor reads a report and it's serious, they will call you. Like if it's something that's really, really bad, they will call you. They may tell you to make an appointment or something if it's like not so good news, but not the worst news. But they will follow up there. I had an instance last week where they told me I need to go get blood work for something, but they meant like go get blood work now, not a week later. They meant like you need to go right now. And I did not get it right now. I waited a week and got it yesterday, but MacBooks must be fixed. Let's grab a 00165 donor board that has everything that I need near the SMC. This one looks like a nice match. So for those wondering how I feel after the vaccine, I feel perfectly fine. Other than a little tenderness at the injection site, everything is fine. I haven't lost any limbs. I haven't turned into a microchipped 5G antenna controlled by Bill Gates. I haven't died, obviously. I mean, I might have died. I don't know. You guys be the judge of that. No. Oh well. Don't worry, the part where you lose your sense of the smell and ability to get has set in for about a week or so. Well, we'll see what happens. Good to go. I'm probably gonna replace this SMC reset IC. I don't like it. There's a lot of corrosion around it. It's probably fine. Let's see. What I find what's so funny about the vaccines is people sometimes legitimately believe just the craziest stuff about this stuff. Like the whole microchip thing, that's ridiculous. Like, come on. People that work in electronics know you're not fitting any kind of microchip inside of a fluid that goes in your body. Because one, how are you going to power it? How are you going to power... okay, if you think your vaccine has a microchip, all right, inject a liquid into you. Microchips need power. How are you going to power it? Are you a walking power station? Are you a walking battery? No. What, off the electrical impulses from your heart and your nerves? Not going to happen, sorry. That's ridiculous. Like, yeah, the vaccine is new and whatever, but I would much rather take my chances with a vaccine than COVID. Like, could you die from a vaccine if you have an immunological reaction? Probably. But can you die from COVID? Definitely. And if I had a choice between getting COVID and getting a COVID-19 vaccine, guess what I'm getting? Where's my wick? Here it is. The natural heat in the blood, yeah. That's like some kind of NFC chip, Catherine, like in your credit card or something like that. Come on. A little too much on the center pad there, but this will work fine. Gotta push it down. Nice and aligned. Good to go. Whoa. My magnet got stuck to the soldering iron. That's not good. And I think we'll turn on now. Let's see if we turn on. I'm pretty sure we're going to turn on. Let's let it cool a bit. Fan. No green light. Wait, we have green light and we have fan spin. And you see, we fixed this board. To everybody without in cell phone repair shop talk and everybody that goes off to say that I'm some 19-year-old. What was I called last night? I forgot what I was called last night. I gotta look this up. Oh yeah, 19-year-old diaper. So whoever thinks I'm a 19-year-old diaper that can't fix a motherboard and I'm some noob because I don't heat CPUs to make money, look at this, guys. Fan spin fixed. And we still have other stuff we needed to take care of. Like right here, this is no good. And this is definitely not going to work. Yeah, what do you guys think? How should we fix this? Look at that. Look at that beautiful board. We have a 2020 board that I'm going to attempt to fix without a board view too. COVID-19 get the YouTube put that in the title. That's funny. Well, with the heat gun, obviously. This won't even need any budge wires. It shouldn't anyway. We'll see. But this shouldn't need any. Maybe one, but it would surprise me. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to scrape away at the traces and go from there. Yeah, these are probably fine. Let's see. Yeah, we will not need any wires here. These traces are nice and attached. Put some flux, some solder on top, they're just fine. Let me do that, then I'll wick this away and I'll harvest the connectors. I've kind of trying to use up the connectors I have on donor boards. So I just take them off with the low temp on hot air. You know. Bailey is here. How's it going, Bailey? I wish the repair community was better. I wish that people were moving forward in their repair tactics. I mean, like one of the arguments that this one person got defended with is, oh, it worked. It worked. The board turned on after they heated the CPU and everything. You know, and the fact so many people defended that, it's like, come on. Like, okay, on an A1534, yes, if you heat the CPU at a low temperature, you can get their data back. But you don't take a Wagner heat gun to it and just burn the living hell out of the board. You just don't do it. Because one, you could very easily popcorn that chip and then you're dead. You know, the chip is dead, the customer's data is gone, and it's an end of story. It's kind of like saying, like, you go to the surgeon and the surgeon like rips you open with a steak knife to take out your appendix and then say, oh, he's a good surgeon, he did a good job, I didn't die during the surgery. It's the same thing. It's not a good practice, and I will, when I see people doing stuff like that, I'll call them out, period. It's ultimately, it's not about people. It's not about like competition or anything. I I care about these customers. I care about the industry that I'm in, and I don't want to see people to lose their data. That breaks my heart when I get a board that I can't fix because somebody ruined it through a practice like that. You know what I mean? It's it's when you have to tell somebody that all their data is gone because of something like that that was preventable. I mean, come on. Anyway, let's go get enough talking about that. We will get a LVDS connector. Here's a good one. We'll harvest it. I'll use about 270 Celsius with some flux, and should take it right off. My stream is watching you. Hey Adam, how's it going? So this is an A2000165 that we just fixed. We had a couple bad resistors around the SMC. We had 8.19 volts on PP bus G3 hot with no power. How we diagnosed this is we measured SMC reset L. It was at 3.4 volts, so no issues there. Inspected around the SMC. We had some corrosion. We removed the edge bonding, put some flux, heated it a bit, and the board is working. Now that is a totally acceptable method to do when you have corrosion under a chip like that, and the board should be fixed. We're just cleaning up some corrosion and going from there. And we're just going to harvest an LVDS connector off this board. So you can actually harvest connectors off of motherboards using direct heat. Just use like 270 Celsius and you're totally fine. Won't cause any damage to the connector. You won't melt it or anything like that. Just takes a little bit more longer period of heat. I appreciate it, Adam. Alright, this connector is starting to come off here. And it just fell. You can do that. You can heat the underside, but I could take it off at 270 Celsius and there's less chance at melting that connector. As you can see, it looks perfectly fine. I mean, it's a little bit melty. It's not terrible, though. It'll work just fine. I kind of want to get rid of a lot of the donor boards I have because there's not a lot of stuff left on them. So I'm trying to use up all the... Someone's here. I better lock my door. I don't want somebody to barge in here. Especially since I got threatened last night. Anyway. Connector is down. We're going to drag solder this connector. These knife tips are really nice for this, so all we're going to do is got a little bit of solder on the tip, touch it, drag. It'll take a few attempts. Door's already locked, Christian. It's okay if we get a bridge. We're going to get bridges. So we're just going to put more flux down. Flux is always your friend for jobs like this. Actually, my hand is not very steady at all. I've learned to control it, but I actually do not have very steady hands whatsoever. We're going to kind of move this solder bridge because it's going to shed off some solder on the remaining pins, but I want to move it to the backlight pins because we can actually bridge the backlight pins because there's two right next to each other, and there's going to be no issues doing that. And that'll eliminate our bridge without having to be frustrated about it. If I could kind of eliminate it beforehand, I'll do that too. And if that fails, which I have a little bit too much solder on here, I will get a little piece of wick and just touch it, and that's it. So all we have to do is get our wick like that. And done deal. And I have some exciting news too. I'm getting set up with the equipment needed for CPU, PCH replacements, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully soon we'll start doing those and have some good content on there since it's becoming more relevant issues. I don't really want to do CPU replacements or anything, but for data recovery, it might be worth it. So we'll start doing that. Of course, CPU replacements are not going to be covered under the standard board repair rates. They'll be for data recovery only. We'll be doing that. So should be a fun thing to do and learn. LVDS connectors are one of my least favorite things to do. And this is something that so many people find so easy to do. And I just do not like connector soldering. Like, connector soldering is just one of those things I just do not like doing. Need to hire some kind of a minion or something to do this. Come on. No, ugly solder joint. We don't have those on our boards. No ugly solder joints. Not here. Not at TCRS. We don't do that kind of work here. The reason why it's harder to get the pins like that soldered is because it has a lot of thermal mass, because it's on a ground pin and it's a larger pin. So in a case like that, we'll switch to something like the BC2. Caleb actually has done LVDS connectors. So Caleb hopefully will be doing more board repairs, and we may get him on stream soon. Done deal. All's nice and soldered. Let's get this junk out of here. I'm just going to use my iron to kind of get out of here. Now, this is like caramelized onto the board. This ain't coming off without hot air. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that nice? Beautiful. Yeah, the CPUs are going to be harder to get. The PCHs I could probably get from Mauser. and DigiKey. And if I set up an account for CPUs, that's going to be harder. I may try and get set up with an account through Intel and see what their minimum purchase is, and at least get some CPUs in stock, but I don't know. What year and model is this? This is a 2015 to 2017 A1466 MacBook Air. Scrape away at that ugly looking stuff so we can get fresh solder on top of that. Flux. I'm going to switch back to my other tip now because it's better suited for this. It's always nice to have some hot swappable tips at your side that you can just grab them and plop another one in the iron as you feel necessary. Like that. Let's see. This board right here should have everything we need, except for one cap. Okay. I get it, little MOSFET. You don't want to be in a MacBook. I wouldn't want to be on a MacBook either if I were you. I get it. I don't blame you. If I were you, I would have ran away too. This was indeed a liquid spill. This donor board looks... I don't trust this cap. Hi Richard, how's it going? Alright, I gotta go to the front, I think, to grab another donor board. Because I need a capacitor, and I don't like the one I have, and there's a lot more donor boards up front than I have in this back office. So let's take the journey up front. Now that I have the office expansion, it's actually like a walk up here. And beautiful. First board has it. Alright. Capacitor. Hopefully there's going to be some new content up on the channel soon. I got a lot of videos I need to edit, like a lot of videos, so I'm probably going to be doing that tonight. No, not working on PCs. I won't work on PCs. I just mean videos of MacBook repair that I have not edited. A lot of them are from like 2019. Believe it or not. I don't like that fuse. Go away. You don't belong on this board. You're burned. I honestly don't like using fuses from donor boards. I'll grab a fresh fuse. And my arm hurts. Imagine that. Felt that as I reached for my backlight fuses. That's a good sign. So people complain about vaccine side effects. Oh, well, I'm going to get this and this and this. And what you realize is that's good. That's good that you're getting a sore arm or a fever or something like that. That means you're having an immune response. That's a very good thing. Yeah, fuses are easy to get. I have a whole reel of them. I paid like $10 for like 500 of them or some ridiculous amount, and I forget. These are nice ones. You can see actually the thing I like about these fuses is you can actually see them. You can see if they're blown visually. I don't remember which brand these were, but I know I got them off Mauser or DigiKey. Yeah, these are nice. You could see right through them if it's blown or not. VV42 rig, Catherine, it feels exactly like any other vaccine I've had. Like there's literally no different than any vaccine that I've had in the past. The needle was a bit longer, I will say that. I don't know which gauge they used, but I'm going to guess it was like a 20, or maybe a 21 gauge, but it was longer for sure. I think that's because they're using the longer needle to get more doses out of the vial. So, that's not really a problem. I get poked and injured with things at work that hurts 100 times more than a needle prick. So a needle prick does not faze me one bit. A lot of people are scared of needles, or they don't. A needle prick does not bother me one bit. Like blood work or vaccines, nothing like that bothers me. Yeah, I've heard of that high voltage. The second dose will be a lot rougher. That's why I'm going to. Let's see, they scheduled me for March 3rd for my second dose. When is March 3rd? March. And okay, here's the funny thing. So I went on last Friday to LA County Public, and I actually plan on reporting this to LA County Public Health as well. I went to the hang on. So Thursday is another Wednesday. Oh well. So I went to the Magic Mountain. If any of you are in LA County, they have different sites set up for vaccination. One of them is at Magic Mountain, which is Six Flags, the big roller coaster place. I went there, waited in the big long line, had an appointment, everything. And when they went to go give me the vaccine, the nurse asked to see my proof of eligibility. I tried to show her, and she yelled at me, literally yelled at me, screamed at me, and asked me if I was a nurse. I said no. I tried to explain what I do, what I work on, and she said, if you're not a doctor or nurse, then I will not vaccinate you, this and that. Despite being fully eligible under the CDC and LA County Department of Health guidelines, because I work on medical equipment, which is direct and indirect contact. They would not even look at my documents, nothing, and they made me leave. And the person there acted very unprofessional and actually ran after me, yelling at me as I left. I don't know, maybe I pulled away too fast or something, but it was a completely awful thing. Richard, again. No, Richard, I actually have not had the vaccine. I have not had COVID-19 because here's why. Let's see. LabCorp. Let's see, nothing. Yeah. What's this? COVID-19 IgG antibody test, LabCorp. Negative. I have not had COVID-19. And unfortunately, Richard, I more probably have a condition that will increase my chance of getting seriously sick from COVID-19 by a lot. So being the fact that I do work on medical equipment, and some of this medical equipment actively scans COVID patients, I am very glad that I was able to get it. And that was a COVID-19 antibody test through blood draw, not the PCR test to detect active infection. No, I do a very good job of making sure that I'm very clean stuff, and, Indeed, Richard. I don't want to share exactly what it is, because I don't 100% know what it is yet, but it's definitely not something that you want to get COVID and have this on, because that wouldn't be a good thing. No, I actually have no protection yet. I'll have about like 80% protection after 10 days or so. And then I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I'm not eligible because of my line of work. That's another thing that just doing this in industry that I'm honestly getting sick of is when people think do not take me seriously from age and stuff like that. There's no reason why I cannot be regarded just as anybody else simply because of my age. So, I'm not going to share what the potential of what I may have is, but if I were to have this, my chance of getting seriously ill from COVID would probably be anywhere from maybe like 5 to 8%, which is actually a very high chance. So, all looks good here. That's all solved. This, I'm not worried about the corrosion around this MOSFET. This MOSFET never really dies. All of this stuff will look fine after ultrasonic. Same with that diode right there. All that's going to be totally fine after ultrasonic. ISL looks fine. This is done. This right here, this backlight driver's got to go. Okay, so Synchro. I actually just switched from a Hackintosh today. So this PC, something went wrong with it, and my other technician fixed it because I don't want to do this. So I was using this Lenovo M92P, has an i7 this was Hackintosh with the macOS Catalina, and it actually worked pretty nice. I mean, I don't macOS. I have no problems using macOS. I have no problems using iOS. I think Apple makes decent software. And do I think they make good hardware? No, I think they make lousy hardware. But do I think that their software is decent? Yes, absolutely. Do I think Mac OS is decent for more general tasks than Windows? Yes. But that's just my opinion. Older does not always mean wiser. That's exactly right. Like last night, I was told by dozens upon dozens of people that I'm just some 19-year-old noob that has no idea what they're doing. And that's said by somebody who probably, people by that probably don't even know how to hold a soldering iron properly. Yeah, I do not like Big Sur. I've worked on some machines with Big Sur. I do not like it whatsoever. There are just, I don't want to sound like an Apple shill by doing this, but there are just things that like iOS and macOS does better than Windows and Android. It's simple as that. So for like store payments, like taking payments in store and stuff, I've used plenty of Android tablets and they always get the same. They're buggy. They're not consistent. They get weird bugs connecting to the readers. Okay, and like something like that that I cannot deny. Like, okay, this isn't an iPad Air 4. I can 100% agree that this is a lousy device when it comes to repair. You can't replace the camera, to my knowledge. They use all-tin solder on the logic board, which is prone to cracking, and it's prone to tin whiskers and all kinds of stuff like that. But you know what? This is actually a decent device to use. This is not buggy. This will take payments without a hitch. This will work perfectly fine. So it comes down to that. I mean, it really depends on, I don't know, just use what makes you productive. Like, by all means, I hate Apple. Like, I really hate Apple. Turn this around because I'm used to replacing backlight drivers this way. I don't think I dress like I'm 19. I think I dress like a bum, is what I think. I should probably start putting more care into my appearance. I dress like a bum, not like 19, unless 19-year-olds dress like a bum. That's funny, Greg. I should probably do that. That would be funny. I finally redid the front of my counter because the tiles were falling off of it, and um, it was fine for a while, but then more tiles fell off of it, and then it started looking really bad, and customers started looking at it, and then it started to get like, I better fix this. So I just fixed it. I put it off for months and months and months, but I just fixed it. It's not perfect. I need to finish it. I need to get some more trim around it, but at least I made a start on it. And then of course, as the counter is all apart on the floor, so due to COVID, I'm kind of doing like contactless service type of thing. So we meet people at the door, and we have it set up like that just because it's kind of cramped in the front, and the counter's all apart on the floor, and we left the door unlocked, and somebody doesn't read all the signs that it's kind of hard to miss, and somebody walks right in and looks at the ground with all the counter disassembled at it, and they were like pretty sketched out about that. But no, what am I gonna do? I got to do it eventually. this LPD 550 on. And I am 20 in a month or so, Cam. That'll mark my 5th year doing this. Started doing this when I was 15 years old. So September of 2021? Yeah, September of 2021 will be my 5th year doing this. I didn't like that. I kind of pushed down on it. It should be alright. Alright, I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and throw this in the enclosure, give it a quick test, see what's going on. If we fixed it or not. Just double checking everything. This JTAG can stay. No, it can't stay. What do we say? Cam Parkins says, "You're really a wizard. My trusty 2012 is still going strong. My RAM glitched last night. 10 screws and reseating the sticks fixed it. Can't do that with the new MacBooks." That's right. You have one of the last good ones. Hang on to that machine. That's actually a good machine. That's what we use around the store for data recovery and stuff like that. We have a 2012 that needed, I think that needed like an LVDS Mux or something. I don't remember. Cam, I don't know if this was you or not, but I remember, I'm pretty sure it was you, but you brought in some old Mac hardware. You were doing some project of some sort. How did that work out? If that was you, I'm pretty sure it was. But how did that work out? I've been thinking about that. Okay, let's clean our workstation. I need the new 820-01958 schematics. Please help. So here's schematics. There's this thing called Google. And if Google does not have a schematic, that means I won't have a schematic. because schematics are available from Google. So my advice to you is check Google. If Google does not have schematics, then chances are that schematic is not available. So, sorry. No need to apologize. I just like people to be independent about stuff like that. And that's what I get questions all the time, like, oh, where do I get schematics? And the question is Google. Or people ask me, do you have a certain schematic? And I say, if it does not come up on a Google search, then no. No, dual SSDs are fine. That could still run Catalina. You're fine on Catalina. So I'd run Catalina over Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a little bit buggy. If you really wanted to use Ubuntu and retain the feel of Mac OS, you can actually make Ubuntu very similar to Mac OS. You could look up how to do it, but it'll take you maybe like 20 minutes or so. You can make it very close to the feel of macOS. However, Linux will bring the typical bugs and the typical Linux experience. So you can do that, but it's kind of a pain. So hopefully we get backlight and everything that we're supposed to be getting. And could put this in queue for ultrasonic. LVDS connectors in. They're always really tight to plug in because of flux in the connector. Now we will not, there's no SSD in this machine, so we'll get backlight and a flash and question mark folder, and that's about it. So we're going to plug this in. We get fan spin. And we get backlight. So, can you guys see this? Backlight fixed. Let's wait for it. Give me that question mark. I have a few of the A1286 to 650M LCD issues on one with a row of dead pixels. Yeah, that happens. Come on, give me a question mark. Come on, little MacBook, give me a question mark. Question mark. Yep, this is fixed. We have image, we have CPU, we have everything. Good to go. Ultrasonic, replace trackpad cable. Replace, do we need a new I/O cable? No, should be good. So ultrasonic, and this one is done and good to go back. Where's the bottom case for this one? And on to the next one. I'm looking for a particular machine, and which slot did my employee put it in? I must go find it. Should we call and yell at him to find out where he put this particular machine? Unless he already diagnosed it and fixed it. That's another possibility. Nope, here we go. I found it. Bottom slots. So we have a newer machine. This is going to be an 820-01598 that has a black screen apparently. So the first thing we're going to do is give an overview of the board to see if there's any obvious hints of damage, and then we'll go from there. My guess is this is probably going to be an LCD issue, maybe a no posting issue, probably LCD, but we'll see. Yummy steak. The only problem I have with that is it's technically a legal gray area, but a hint like that is totally fine. Anybody should be able to figure that out from that hint. All right, so let's give an overview of this. Especially on the backlight circuit. That's one thing I really want to look at. See, this is probably going to be boring. This is probably going to be a boring repair. This is probably like an LCD or something. Where's the paint stripper? I don't know. All right. I want to check for short and backlight output because that would be the most common cause of no backlight on a machine like this. No short. So let's see what this actually does. This is my guess is this is going to be no post. This is live, Paul. This is indeed live. Okay, what did Caleb suspect? Why did he unplug this? No obvious damage to the flex cables. That's a good sign. Just looking at options, considering the political scare with big tech companies, I don't think Apple Silicon. I don't think you could do anything. I've heard of some issues with the M1 machines. Just so everybody knows, I would not buy one yet. I've heard of a lot of like freezing and not responding issues. It's probably firmware getting macOS to work. I don't think it's a hardware issues because Apple's been making ARM CPUs for quite a long time. So I doubt it's going to be hardware related. I think it's more going to be software, firmware related and stuff. But still, I would not buy one yet. It's the first iteration. I would wait a little bit until they work out stuff. If they do work out stuff, because you got to remember, Apple is Apple. Has Tim got the Wagner yet? Not yet. It's on the way. We had to get a really big one. So the regular Wagners wouldn't work. So we had to get a super big Wagner. Like, this is what we're going to be using for repair now. Hang on. We need a really, really big Wagner for these kind of repairs. And just the kind that you can get at the hardware store are just not going to work. So we're going to start repairing boards with this right here. Let's see. Display capture. Yeah, this is what we're going to start repairing boards with. This is almost a 4,000 watt heat gun right here. This is a really big high powered heat gun. You know, this is yeah, this will do the trick here. You know, just put the whole board in front of this, leave it on there for 3 hours, and good as new. All corrosion will be burned off, all solder joints will be rejuvenated, all internal chips will be successfully bonded back together. Everything will be good to go using one of these. So yes, this is the ultimate MacBook repair tool for just $93. This is the one solution fits all MacBook repair tool right here. It's an amazing tool. Totally amazing tool. I highly recommend that people use this device to repair MacBooks. So, yeah. Okay. I'm getting tired. I wonder if that's part of the vaccine or if it's just because it's the end of the day. My arm is noticeably sore, I will say that. I do feel a little bit groggy, not groggy, but just tired. But it's not unusual for me to feel tired, so I cannot say that's part of the vaccine. I feel no chills, nothing like that. It's my personal email, Paul. And just to get everything clear, that's because I don't want somebody to actually do this. That's a joke. We're not using that to fix MacBook boards. This will fit in at a later date, trust me. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. All right, I just need a battery screw. Yeah, maybe the tiredness is from the vaccine. That would make sense. One thing that I am expecting is swollen axillary lymph nodes. That would not surprise me the least bit. Last year I got my flu shot last year. That knocked me down. I will say that made me feel like garbage. And I'm fully expecting this. Like I'm totally fine with feeling like this with the COVID vaccine. Like if I feel like crap, I'll be here tomorrow fixing MacBooks even if I feel like crap. Part of it. All right, let's see what black screen this is. No, not this. No display capture. One second. Okay, so we need to differentiate no image from no post from a black screen. So we see here we're pulling booting current. We have trackpad click. We have nothing on the screen. And typically on a no post unit, we will not get the caps lock light. So with a no post unit, you will get no caps lock light. And unfortunately, the most common cause of no on boards is a failing CPU, PCH, or RAM. However, on these newer boards, it can be pretty much anything. So we have a trackpad click, we have no touch bar, and we have no caps lock light. So what that tells me with no caps lock light is this is actually no brain, not no CPU. So I want to check for CPU vCore. The CPU is kind of cold, so I don't know. So we're going to check CPU vCore. Our LCD is plugged in. And I'm starting to feel crappy. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to feel quite crappy. And we have 0 volts on CPU vCore. The most common cause for 0 volts on CPU vCore is going to be the CPU not wanting power. So the CPU will say, hey, something's wrong with me. Don't give me power. We have system agent voltage, the PCH, but we have no power to the IA cores, the execution cores, for lack of a better term. So, why would this be? Now, I don't have a board view or schematic because I don't have Paul's software installed in my fresh install yet. And my arm hurts. Did I take the bandage off yet? I did not. I hate bandages. I did take Jim, I did take acetaminophen earlier because I had a headache, but yeah, People refilling CPUs gave me a headache last night, and the headache did not go away. Good job, Teresa. Dating apps are not for somebody like me, period. Alright, so we most likely have an issue around our CPU vCore regulator or with the CPU itself. So let's take a look. Here's our CPU vCore regulator. It looks totally fine. However, I have seen these go bad. So we're going to change it. Let's do a more thorough inspection too. Make sure we didn't miss anything. That's not exactly true, Synchro. You can. The pharmacist actually told me if you start feeling flu-like symptoms, take Tylenol. But it's probably not the best to, because you want your body to have an immune response. And the one thing people don't understand is more side effects like this means your body's having immune response. Like, let's say if I go home later and I wake up in the morning feeling like total garbage with fever and everything, what that means is that my body is having an effective immune response. And after I feel better, I will have some antibodies. I won't have perfect protection, but I'll have some. I didn't take ibuprofen. I took acetaminophen or Tylenol, if you're familiar. I forget what people in the UK call it. Paracetamol or something like that. And if this CPU vCore regulator doesn't work, I'm probably going to call it a night because I'm starting to feel kind of tired. Again, that's probably just my normal feeling like garbage every day. But I kind of want to go home because it's plus at 6 p.m. So. Unfortunately, this missing CPU vCore thing is something that affects a lot of these newer boards, and it's almost always the processor, unfortunately. Kind of why I have like a little collection of ISL 92, whatever this is. Yeah, 95828A at my desk because I constantly throw new ones on to see if it works. Let me make sure I don't have any bridges on this. Come on. Yep, all fine. More flux. Sometimes, like, corrosion around the SSD chips and stuff will cause no post. Another actual possibility is communication issues with the battery, but I don't really think that's the case on this particular board. That'll usually present a little bit differently, and you usually will not get voltage to the PCH. That's not something I really suspect whatsoever. Poison. Don't drink this. No, this board was not cleaned during disassembly. There was zero liquid damage on this board whatsoever. All of the liquid damage indicators are intact. This is likely just random failure. That's unfortunately something we see a lot on these new boards. They're not very reliable. I'm hoping this changes with M1 because these new the Intel processor generation of stuff is really not very good. These Intel chips have a lot of failures. I'm pretty sure all processors that are going under 14 nanometers are going to have failures like that, but we'll see. But then again, I don't know. You know, the thing is like iPhone CPUs and stuff don't really die that much. And that's what I look at when I think of the T2 stuff. When I don't believe the new M1 stuff has a lot of thermal issues. So, you know, maybe they'll be better. I don't know. It's too early to say until I start seeing those. So by this time next year, we should have a good idea of what the quality of those devices are. All right, the CPU is noticeably warmer than last time. Let's measure VCore. We're pulling 1 amp. However, no change in symptoms. So, what this is going to get tomorrow is me checking all the rails around the CPU buck converter with my oscilloscope to see what's going screwy around there, because we do not have caps lock, we do not have anything that's working, and there is the most probable thing is going to be the CPU is not communicating properly on its serial communication line to the CPU buck converter. So there needs to be a handshake there. The CPU has to say, hey, I'm good for power. Give me 1.8 volts on the old ones, or give me 0.7 volts or 0.9 volts or 1.2 volts or whatever based on its load. So there needs to be that handshake there, and if there's not that handshake there, you will not get CPU vCore. You will get power to the PCH because the PCH is totally different. So I'll go and do that, but in the meantime, it's time to close the store. It's 5:47 p.m. I'm going to straighten up a little bit. I'm going to go home. I'm going to rest because I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. My arm is very noticeably sore. Let's see, is there any redness around here? Nope, no redness. Just sore and tender, a little bit hot, inflammation, normal. But I want to go home, rest, call it a night because I didn't sleep well last night either. And I'm probably going to go home and edit some videos to get some content up there. And to end this stream, say no to CPU reflows.